There are certain figures in Hollywood who never seem to lose their calm no matter what storms swirl around them. Among them, James Garner stood tall. To his fans, he was the epitome of effortless cool. A man whose smile could soften any scene, whose voice carried quiet authority, and whose eyes reflected both strength and empathy. For decades, audiences adored him for his unpretentious charm and genuine personality. But behind that easygoing grin was a man who had lived through more than most people could imagine: hardship, heartbreak, and one of Hollywood's most complicated rivalries. This is the untold story of James Garner, and the truth about his troubled relationship with Steve McQueen, the man once crowned the king of cool. James Garner's story didn't begin with fame or fortune. He wasn't born into the world of cameras or red carpets. He grew up in Norman, Oklahoma, in a small town where hard work wasn't an option, it was a necessity. His childhood was difficult, marked by poverty, family struggles, and an early understanding that life would never hand him anything easily. But that hardship built a resilience in him that would define his career later. As a teenager, Garner dropped out of school and took odd jobs, everything from lifeguarding to working in oil fields. Eventually, he joined the Merchant Marines and later served in the Korean War. It was there, amid the chaos of battle, that he developed the kind of composure and quiet strength that audiences would one day see reflected in his characters. He was wounded twice and received 2 Purple Hearts, though he rarely spoke about his service. The man who Hollywood would come to see as charming and relaxed had already survived real war. After returning home, fate came calling in the most unexpected way. While working at a gas station, Garner met a soda jerk who told him he had the kind of face people would remember. That same man later became a stage producer, and when their paths crossed again, he gave Garner a chance, a non-speaking role in a stage play called The Caine Mutiny Court-Martial. Garner wasn't the star. He didn't even have lines. But he stood backstage every night, silently observing the legendary Henry Fonda perform. It was there, watching, absorbing, and studying, that James Garner learned to act. He didn't go to acting school. He didn't learn from textbooks. He learned by watching greatness and letting it shape him. That quiet apprenticeship paid off. By the late 1950s, Garner was on television screens across America. His role as Brett Maverick in Maverick made him a household name. Unlike other leading men of his time who played heroes with intensity and bravado, Garner approached his characters with wit and understatement. He wasn't the kind of star who forced himself into the spotlight. It came to him naturally. He could deliver a punchline with ease or stand silently and still dominate a scene. Audiences loved him because he felt real. Like the guy next door who somehow found himself in the middle of extraordinary stories. From Maverick came a wave of film opportunities: The Great Escape, the Americanization of Emily, Grand Prix, and many others. Garner was at the top of his game, admired not only for his talent but for his authenticity. But even in an industry filled with bright lights and polished smiles, not everything was perfect. Hollywood has always been a place where ego and insecurity collide, and even the most grounded stars find themselves drawn into rivalries. For James Garner, that rival came in the form of another Hollywood legend, Steve McQueen. In 1963, The Great Escape brought together an extraordinary cast. Garner played the confident and resourceful Flight Lieutenant Bob Hendley, while McQueen portrayed Captain Virgil Hiltz, the rebellious loner with a flair for danger. On screen, the two created magic. Their chemistry was undeniable: the calm strategist and the wild daredevil, the perfect balance. But off-screen, that chemistry transformed into something far more volatile. At first, they got along well enough. McQueen admired Garner's composure, and Garner enjoyed McQueen's sense of humor. But that mutual respect didn't last long. As filming progressed, McQueen's behavior became erratic. He began questioning the script, demanding more screen time, and throwing tantrums whenever he felt overshadowed. According to Garner's later accounts in his memoir The Garner Files, McQueen almost walked off the set completely. He hated that his character wasn't portrayed as the film's hero and called many of his scenes corny. Director John Sturges was desperate to keep his star happy, so he rewrote parts of the movie to give McQueen more focus, including the now iconic motorcycle chase sequence that made McQueen a legend. While fans loved that scene, Garner saw through the act. He knew it wasn't about storytelling, it was about ego. He later said that Steve McQueen wasn't really an actor. He was a movie star, Garner wrote. You could always see him acting, and that's the kiss of death. Those were harsh words, especially from someone as measured as Garner. But behind them was years of pent-up frustration. Garner had worked with countless talented actors, Marlon Brando, Julie Andrews, and Henry Fonda, yet McQueen was different. He was unpredictable, insecure, and competitive to the core. Their friendship quickly turned into rivalry. McQueen reportedly began suspecting Garner of having an affair with his wife, actress Neil Adams. The rumor was false, but it was enough to poison whatever friendship they had left. Garner was deeply hurt by the accusation, later writing that McQueen's jealousy was rooted in insecurity. Neil herself once told Garner that Steve was always envious of tall, dark men and couldn't stand the thought of his wife admiring another man. Over time, the tension between them became an unspoken Cold War. Garner once compared their relationship to that of brothers. He saw McQueen as a delinquent younger brother, while McQueen viewed him as an older figure he could never quite surpass. They respected each other's talent, but the undercurrent of jealousy and resentment never went away. Even after The Great Escape became one of the biggest hits of the decade, the damage between them was done. Garner, as always, chose not to fight back publicly. He stayed calm, composed, and focused on his work. But deep down, he never forgot how easily ego could destroy friendship, and how, in Hollywood, even admiration can turn to bitterness overnight. As his career flourished, Garner continued to prove that true talent doesn't need theatrics. He became known as one of the most professional, grounded men in the business, the complete opposite of the volatile personalities around him. But behind his calm demeanor, the scars of his Hollywood feuds never fully healed. Years later, when McQueen passed away, Garner would speak about him one last time, not with hatred, but with the kind of honesty that can only come from someone who has seen both the light and dark sides of fame. He revealed that he believed McQueen was never truly happy, consumed by his own insecurity. But the rivalry with the King of Cool wasn't the last chapter in Garner's fight against Hollywood egos. The final, shocking revelation he saved for his memoir wasn't just about McQueen, but about another co-star whose bitterness ran even deeper, a co-star who spent years secretly trying to undermine Garner's career behind the scenes. Garner's final statement was a powerful indictment of the industry itself, a reminder that the biggest dangers in Hollywood often don't come from box office failure, but from the quiet jealousy of those standing right next to you. Did you know the rivalry between Garner and McQueen was so intense? And were you surprised by Garner's harsh assessment that McQueen was merely a movie star, not a true actor? Let us know in the comments who you think that other bitter co-star might be. We want to hear your guesses. If you found this journey into James Garner's life, from the hardship of the Korean War to his silent struggles against the giants of Hollywood, compelling, we have so many more untold stories of classic movie stars waiting for you. We dive deep into the real dramas behind the scenes every single week.